There is a very specific, visceral feeling that I think most of us have experienced at some point.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this.
It's that moment when you walk into a room. Maybe it's a party, maybe it's a high-stakes business meeting, maybe it's just a dinner with new friends, and you realize within about 3 seconds that you are wearing the wrong thing.
Oh, absolutely. The classic nightmare scenario. You show up in a tuxedo and everyone else is in board shorts. Or, vice versa.
Exactly. It's that sinking feeling in your stomach. You haven't even opened your mouth yet, but the air in the room it shifts. You can feel the eyes on you.
You can, yeah.
You have signaled instantly and without saying a word that you are the other. You don't belong. It's a terrible feeling.
It connects to our deepest evolutionary fears, really. Exclusion from the tribe. It's dangerous ground. I mean, historically, that was a death sentence.
It is. And usually, on this show, we are unpacking massive tech trends or dissecting history or looking at business strategies. But today, we're turning the lens onto something arguably more perilous because we use it every single second of every single day.
Language.
But not the how do I order a coffee or where is the bathroom kind of language. We are looking at the invisible tripwires of British English.
The final frontier, as our source material calls it, which I think is a great way to put it.
It is. We're working off this fascinating stack of notes and transcripts from the Advanced Learner Studio. And the premise they put forward is really arresting. It kind of stopped me in my tracks.
What's the big idea?
They argue that you can memorize the entire dictionary. You can have grammar that would make a Victorian school teacher weep with joy. You can know the subjunctive mood inside and out.
Yeah.
But if you miss the music, if you miss the pronunciation and the social coding, you're still an outsider.
That is the crux of it. We tend to view language learning as this linear climb, right? You start at the bottom with, hello, my name is, and you climb up through the tenses, and eventually you reach the summit of fluency.
Right. A nice, neat progression.
But this material argues that the summit isn't just about vocabulary transfer, it's about integration. It's about social survival. The source uses the term pronunciation minefield, and frankly, after reading this, I don't think they are exaggerating.
They really aren't. I was reading through the notes, and there was one line that made me laugh out loud, but then immediately terrified me.
Uh-oh.
They mentioned that mispronouncing a specific type of baked good, a simple pastry, could literally incite a class war.
A class war over a raisin bun. It sounds incredibly dramatic, doesn't it?
It sounds hyperbolic. But that's what we are unpacking today. The stakes here are incredibly high. It's not just about being understood. I mean, look, if you point at a bun and grunt, people will probably give you the bun.
Sure. Yeah. Transaction complete.
But this is about identity. It's about how to, as the source puts it, sound like a local without offending the locals.
And that is a very, very fine line to walk. It's about coding. Every time you speak, you are sending out these little codes about who you are, where you've been, and maybe even who you want to be.
So, just to give everyone a roadmap of where we are going today, because we're going deep, here is the plan.
Let's hear it.
We are going to wade right into that class war and talk about the Great Stone Debate.
Of course, the main event.
We are going to figure out why parking your car in the UK is a phonetic trap that reveals your nationality instantly. We have a vegetable that is apparently having an identity crisis between France and Italy.
I'm intrigued.
And finally, and this is the part I'm most excited about, we are going to discuss the art of not being a robot.
The social register.
The social register. Knowing when to switch your personality based on the room you are in, it is a fascinating, dense stack of research.
It really shifts the focus from, is this correct English, to, is this appropriate English, which are two completely different questions.
Exactly. So let's unpack this. The mission is C2 mastery. The method is forensic analysis. Let's dive into the first major conflict.
The pastry.
The pastry. The scone.
Right.
Or is it the scone?
And right there you have open Pandora's box. You've pulled the pin on the grenade.
I feel like I need to look over my shoulder just saying it. So the source material centers on a discussion between two hosts, Emma and John, and they present this word as the ultimate shibboleth of British society.
That's a great word.
It is. Now, before we get into the vowels, can we just touch on that concept? A shibboleth.
Yeah, it's a great term. Historically, it comes from the Bible. It was a password used to identify enemies in battle.
Really? Like a literal password?
A literal life or death password. If you couldn't pronounce the word shibboleth with the proper sh sound, you were identified as the enemy and, well, it didn't end well for you.
Wow.
So in modern linguistics and sociology, it refers to any custom or phrase or pronunciation that distinguishes one group of people from another. It distinguishes the in-group from the out-group.
So in this case, the humble scone is the password.
Precisely. It's the key to the castle, or at least the key to the tea room.
Okay, so the conflict is simple on the surface. We have one word, S-C-O-N-E, but we have two very distinct ways to say it.
Two tribes, two vowels.
Let's break down the two camps.
Yeah.
In the red corner, we have the pronunciation that rhymes with bone, scone.
Scone. Okay, we got it.
And in the blue corner, we have the version that rhymes with gone, scone.
Scone, right, much shorter.
Now, to an American ear, and I'll admit, to my ear, this seems trivial. Scone, scone, who cares? It's delicious. Put some jam and cream on it and let's eat.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But the source suggests that this vowel shift carries the weight of centuries of history.
It's not just a sound.
No, it's a signal. It's not just a dialect quirk. The analysis here goes deep into the geographic and social coding of these two sounds. Generally speaking, the source identifies the rhyme with gone, scone as the northern pronunciation.
So Manchester, Leeds, Newcastle, that sort of area.
Broadly, yes. It's often cited as the standard pronunciation in terms of population usage. More people in the UK probably say it this way. In the source text, the host John uses this version. He frames it almost as the voice of the people.
It feels grounded, doesn't it? Scone. It's short, sharp, no nonsense.
Right. It's efficient, whereas the bone, rhyme scone, is geographically tethered more to the south of England.
London, the home counties.
Exactly. But here is where it gets messy. It's not just a map thing, it's a class thing. It is frequently, though not exclusively, coded as posh.
Posh, okay, that's the trigger word right there. So we're talking about perceived social standing.
We are. The source is very clear that this is a perception, not a hard and fast rule. But that perception is powerful. The long O sound in scone is associated with received pronunciation, or RP.
Which is what people would call the Queen's English.
The Queen's English, BBC English from the 1950s, that sort of thing. It's the prestige accent, historically. And so that vowel sound gets linked in people's minds with wealth, private education, and social elitism.
This is the dangerous part. So if I walk into a pub in, say, Newcastle or Manchester, or a working-class bakery in Sheffield, and I order a tea and a scone rhyming with bon dulon, what am I signaling?
You are signaling difference. At a minimum, you are signaling that you are not from there. But more than that, depending on the specific environment, you might be signaling a pretension.
Ouch.
You might be signaling that you align yourself with the establishment or the upper crust. Now, we have to be really careful here because, as the source points out, British people argue about this fiercely.
I can imagine.
You will find plenty of working class people in the South who say stone, bone, and you will find plenty of wealthy people in the North who say scone, gone. It's not a perfect rule. Yeah. But as a learner or an outsider, you aren't dealing with the statistical reality.
You're dealing with the stereotype.
You are dealing with the perception of the word, the listener's internal coding.
That's the key, isn't it? It's about the stereotype the listener holds in their head. It's amazing to me that a single vowel shift, just the difference between rounding your lips for an O or opening them for an O, can act like a badge.
It is.
It's like wearing a t-shirt that displays your parents' income level or which private school you went to.
It is tribal. That is the only word for it. And that is why the source mentions the class war. It sounds hyperbolic to us, but language in the UK is deeply, deeply entrenched in the class system. When you choose a vowel, you are, in a very small way, choosing a side.
Which is absolutely terrifying for a learner.
It is.
You just want a pastry. You don't want to make a political statement. You don't want to accidentally align yourself with the landed gentry when you're just trying to buy a snack.
Right. You're standing at the counter sweating, thinking, do I want to sound posh and risk being thought of as a snob?
Yeah.
Or do I want to sound northern and risk sounding like I'm trying too hard to be one of the lads? It's a paralyzing moment.
So is there any escape? Did the source offer any salvation here? Is there a neutral ground? Or did they just highlight the danger and leave us to suffer?
Well, they offered a very important warning first.
Okay.
There is a third pronunciation, but it's a landmine. Scoon.
Scoon, like spoon.
Scoon. Rhyming with moon. The source is very clear on this universal truth. Scoon is definitely wrong.
Okay, that's a relief. One thing we can all agree on.
Yes. It doesn't signal north. It doesn't signal south. It doesn't signal rich or poor.
What does it signal?
It signals I have never heard this word spoken by a human being.
It signals that you learned English exclusively from reading books in a room by yourself with the curtains drawn.
Precisely. If you say scoon, you aren't inciting a class war, you're just confusing the baker. They won't know what you want, so we can safely discard scoon.
Thank goodness. One less option to worry about. So back to the two main contenders.
Yeah.
What is the strategy here? The source was pretty prescriptive about what the learner should do.
The advice from the Advanced Learner Studio is incredibly practical, and it applies to almost all language learning, not just pastries. The advice is, consistency is king.
Consistency. Okay, what does that mean in this context?
It means the human ear craves patterns. We are pattern matching machines. If you decide you are going to learn received pronunciation, the Queen's English, the BBC English, the Standard Southern British, then you commit to the scone, rhyming with bone.
You go all in.
You go all in. You use the long vowels. You say bath, not bath. You say grass, not grass. You crisp up your consonants. You park your car in the car park. You take the lift, not the elevator. You build a consistent character.
And if you are living in Manchester and you want to adopt the local dialect?
Then you commit to the scone, rhyming with gun. You use the short A in bath and grass. You embrace the local rhythm. You are building a different but equally consistent linguistic persona.
The problem arises when you mix them.
Exactly. That's where it gets jarring. If you walk in and say, I'd like a scone, rhyming with bone, and a glass of water from the tap with a northern A, you sound confused.
It's like a computer glitching.
It's like a radio with a glitch jumping between stations. It jars the listener, it breaks the illusion of fluency, it makes them work harder to understand you, and it signals that you haven't quite mastered the system.
That's a great image. You want to broadcast on a clear frequency. So pick a character. If you want to be the posh banker, commit to the vowels. If you want to be the northern rocker, commit to those vowels. Just don't flip-flop.
Then honestly, just to reassure our listeners, if you have an American accent or a German accent or a French accent and you say scone, gone, nobody's going to think you're trying to be a northern coal miner.
Right, they'll just hear your accent.
They'll just think you learned that version. The class war danger is mostly for native speakers or very advanced speakers who are on the cusp of sounding native. But being aware of it, that's what gives you the edge.
It lets you in on the joke.
It allows you to participate in the joke rather than being the butt of it. You understand the cultural subtext, and that is a huge part of C2 mastery.
Okay, we've secured our pastry. We've chosen our tribe. Now we need to go home. We're walking to the car. And we hit the next massive shibboleth.
Ah, yes.
This one isn't about vowels. It's about stress. The garage.
Ah, yes, the garage, or, as I suspect you say it, the garage.
I feel attack already. Yes, I say garage. It feels right. It feels expansive. It feels like a place we keep a nice car. Garage. Stress on the second syllable, open mouth.
And that openness, that big second syllable, is exactly what marks it as American, or transatlantic, as the source puts it. It is a primary transatlantic marker.
Well, a marker. So it's like a flag.
It's a stress pattern difference that acts like a neon sign flashing above your head saying, I am a tourist. Or at least I learned my English from American media.
So break down the British version for me. How do they crush the spirit of this word?
They don't crush the spirit, they just tidy it up. The British pronunciation puts the stress firmly, decisively on the first syllable, G-A-ridge.
G-A-ridge. It's so clipped. It's so much shorter.
It is. The phonetic breakdown in the source is really helpful here because just hearing it isn't always enough. They ask you to think of the word carriage.
Carriage, okay. Like a horse and carriage or a baby carriage.
Exactly. Carriage. Now take the British garage and rhyme it with that, G-A-ridge. C-A-ridge.
G-A-ridge. C-A. Okay, I hear it. The vowel sound at the end completely changes. In my version, gay, R-H-G-E. It's a long A and a soft J-raj.
It's a French-style ending, which is ironic. The American version is actually closer to the French pronunciation of the original word.
No way.
Yes, but the British version has been thoroughly anglicized. The ending becomes, what is that sound?
It's an idge.
It's a schwa, or a reduced I. It becomes almost invisible. It rhymes with bridge, or ridge, G-A-ridge. This is a characteristic of British English called vowel reduction. In American English, we tend to give vowels a bit more space to breathe, even in unstressed syllables.
We let them live.
You do. In British English, especially in the tails of words, the vowels get crushed down. They get compacted. It's more efficient.
The source used a great visual sentence to drive this home. Jim painted his G-A ridge door canary yellow.
Right. Now I want you to try saying that sentence with your natural American pronunciation.
Okay. Jim painted his Gara RHGE door canary yellow.
How does that feel in your mouth? How does the rhythm feel?
It feels slow. It feels like the word garage is a speed bump. Jim painted his Gara RHGE door. It drags the rhythm of the whole sentence down.
Exactly. It breaks the flow. Now try the British rhythm. Put the punch at the beginning. Jim painted his GA Ridge door canary yellow.
Jim painted his GA Ridge door canary yellow. Oh, I see. It bounces. GA Ridge door, canary yellow. It creates a trochaic rhythm. Dieta, bieta.
This is what the source refers to as the music of English. And this is a recurring theme in this deep dive. We often think pronunciation is just about being correct, according to a dictionary definition.
Right, checking the box.
But it's actually about maintaining the beat of the conversation. If you use the wrong stress pattern, if you insert a gay RHGE into a British sentence, you aren't just mispronouncing a word, you are disrupting the rhythm.
It's like a drummer coming in on the offbeat when everyone else is on the downbeat. It confuses the band.
It creates cognitive friction. The listener understands you, yes, of course they do. But their brain has to do a tiny microsecond of extra processing to decode the rhythm. And if you do that 10 times in a conversation, it becomes exhausting for them.
And socially, imagine you are in a pub. We seem to spend a lot of time in pubs in this deep dive, which feels appropriate for British culture.
It's where the language lives.
And you're talking about your house renovation. If you keep saying, yeah, I'm fixing up the Gare RHGE, I put the tools in the Gare RHGE, it starts to grate. It emphasizes your foreignness over and over again.
It's a subtle form of othering. You are marking yourself out with every sentence. It's a constant reminder that you're not from around here.
Speaking of othering, let's move from the driveway to the kitchen. We have a vegetable that is apparently having a full-blown identity crisis.
The long green squash. I love this example.
The French connection, as the source calls it. Now, in the U.S., and honestly in a lot of the world influenced by American media, we call this a zucchini.
Which is Italian. Zucchino, the plural is zucchini. And it makes perfect sense for the U.S.
Why is that?
Think about the immigration patterns in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Huge waves of Italian immigrants coming to New York, Chicago, Philadelphia. They brought their food and they brought the words for their food. So the language followed the people. Pizza, pasta, broccoli, zucchini.
That makes so much sense. But the UK, they looked across the channel.
They went with the French. Courgette, which is just the diminutive of courge, the French word for marrow or gourd. So a little gourd.
Now, for a learner, this is a double trap. First, you have to know the vocabulary word is different. If you walk into a Tesco in London and ask for a zucchini, the clerk might figure it out eventually, but you'll definitely get a blank stare first.
You will. They might think it's a type of cheese or something.
But the deeper trap, according to the source, isn't just the word itself. It's the pronunciation of the French word.
This is where it gets technical and really interesting. You see, English speakers have a notorious habit of butchering French loanwords.
We do. We're very good at it.
We usually just anglicize them aggressively. We take a word like Paris and say Paris, not Paris. But with courgette, the British have retained some of the French elegance. They haven't fully crushed it.
How so? What have they kept?
First, look at the G sound. It involves that soft G. Technically, it's a voiced postal violar fricative, symbolized as z.
That sounds complicated. Give me an example I can wrap my head around.
Think of the is in leisure or pleasure or vision, or the sound of a luxury car driving by. Z. It's the sound in the middle of the word beige.
Zit. Vision. Courgette. Okay, I can feel that is in the middle of my mouth.
Right. It's not a hard J sound. It's not courgette. It's courgette. It requires a bit of a pout. You have to push your lips forward a little bit. It feels fancy.
Courgette. I do feel a little bit more sophisticated saying it.
But here is the trap, the stress. Where do you put the emphasis?
Well, hang on. Following the logic of G.A. Ridge, where we learned that British English loves to stress the first syllable, my instinct would be to put it at the front. Courgette.
And that is the fatal error. That is the mistake the source flags as the most common among learners. Stressing the first syllable, Courgette.
Yeah, hearing you say it, it sounds clunky, it sounds aggressive, it sounds like I'm barking at the vegetable.
It does. It completely destroys the French flow. French is a language that tends to have end stress or even stress across syllables. By hammering that first syllable, courgette, you are applying a Germanic stress pattern to a Romance word. It clashes. It sounds unnatural.
So the correct way is to stress the end. Courgette.
Courgette. A little lift at the end. It's lighter, more elegant.
Courgette. It almost feels like a question.
It has that rising intonation, yes. And again, this ties back to the music. If you are listing vegetables, I need carrots, potatoes, and courgettes. It sounds like a car crash at the end of the sentence. It's a full stop.
But I need carrots, potatoes, and courgettes. It allows the list to resolve beautifully.
Exactly. It flows into whatever comes next.
It's amazing how much of this is aesthetic. We aren't just communicating data. We are making a sound that needs to fit into the environment. We want to sound pleasing. We want to be part of the orchestra.
We are participating in a shared song. And if you sing out of tune, people notice. Even if they can't tell you why, they feel it.
Okay, so we are nailing the sounds. We have our scones, rhyming with gone for our northern friends, bone for our southern friends. We have our GA ridges, rhyming with carriage, and our courgettes with the French flair. We sound like locals.
We're getting there.
But this next section, this is where the ice gets thin. This feels like the real C2 level stuff.
This is the most critical part of the deep dive, in my opinion. We are pivoting from phonetics, how to make the sounds, to register.
Social register. It sounds like a list of guests at a fancy party.
In a way it is. It's about knowing which voice you are allowed to use in which room. The source material argues that you can have perfect pronunciation, perfect grammar, and C2 mastery, but if you get the register wrong, you fail.
You fail.
You don't just fail a test, you fail socially. You create a barrier between you and the person you're talking to.
The source uses a really specific case study here to illustrate this. It compares two words that mean the exact same thing, knackered and fatigued.
On paper, they're synonyms. I am tired. I am exhausted. If you look them up in a thesaurus, they are right next to each other.
But in the wild, they are different species. They live in different habitats. Let's define knackered first, because I love this word. It has so much character.
It's a fantastic word, very British. It originates from old slang about horses. A knacker was a person who bought old, worn-out horses to slaughter them for things like glue or dog meat. The knacker's yard.
Oh, wow. That's dark. I didn't know that.
It is dark. So if a horse was knackered, it was done. It was finished, physically broken. So when a human says, I'm knackered, it implies a deep physical, almost bone-deep exhaustion. It's visceral. It's real.
It's got mud on its boots.
It does. And in the workplace context the source discusses, it's often paired with the phrase mucked in.
We all mucked in. That sounds messy.
It is. To muck in means to get your hands dirty, to collaborate, to pull together to get a difficult job done. It implies camaraderie. It implies we are all in the trenches together, shoveling muck.
Okay, so we have knackered and mucked in. Earthy, real, human, and formal. On the other side, we have fatigued.
Clinical, distant, formal, Latinate. It sounds like something a doctor would write in a report. Patient presents as fatigued.
All right, so the source sets up two scenarios to show how these words can save you or destroy you. Scenario A, the boardroom.
High stakes.
You are standing in front of the CEO. You are wearing a suit. You are presenting the quarterly figures. It is a high-pressure environment. The register is high. It's formal.
Imagine you click to your final slide. You look the CEO in the eye and you say, Mr. CEO, honestly, I'm absolutely knackered, but the team really mucked in this quarter.
Oh, God. I physically recoil just hear you say that. It feels so wrong.
Why? What did you feel? What's wrong with it?
It feels sloppy. It feels too intimate. Like I'm inviting the CEO to smell my sweat. It feels unprofessional. It completely undermines the authority of the data I just presented.
Exactly. You have broken the professional barrier. You have lowered the register too far. In the boardroom, the language needs to be crisp, detached, and precise. You are a professional machine delivering results. The correction the source offers is, I am fatigued, and the team collaborated effectively.
Collaborated effectively. It's sterile. It has no soul. But it matches the suit. It matches the PowerPoint presentation.
It matches the environment. It signals I'm in control. I'm objective. I can handle the pressure.
But now let's flip it. This is where learners often get stuck. They learn the proper business English, the fatigued and collaborated, and they think that is just good English. So they never turn it off.
Right. They wear the suit to the beach. They can't code switch.
Scenario B, the pub. It's 6:00 p.m. The presentation went well. You've loosened your tie. You have a pint in your hand. You are with your peers, the people you were just mucking in with.
It's a moment of release. The pressure is off.
And you turn to your mate, take a sip of beer, and say in a serious tone, boy, I am fatigued.
What happens?
Laughter, probably, or just a really weird look. You sound like a robot.
You sound like an alien trying to simulate human conversation. The source explicitly says this makes the speaker sound robotic.
It creates distance, doesn't it? If I say I'm fatigued, I'm basically saying I am observing my own body from a distance. I'm not sharing my feeling with you. I'm reporting a status update.
Yes. It signals that you are not letting your guard down. You're still wearing the emotional suit. And in a pub, the social contract is that you let your guard down. This is the moment. You must code switch. You have to drop the fatigued and pick up the knackered.
I'm absolutely knackered.
And suddenly, you are human. You are vulnerable. You are saying, I worked hard just like you. I am tired just like you. It builds a bridge. It creates solidarity.
This is such a profound insight for advanced learners. We obsess over vocabulary size. We think, if I know the word fatigue, I'm smart. If I know the word collaborate, I'm sophisticated.
Right. Bigger word equals better English.
But true mastery, that C2 level, is knowing that using a simple slang word like knackered is actually the smarter move in the right context. It shows higher emotional and social intelligence.
It's about reading the room. It's the uncanny valley of language. When you are a beginner, people forgive your mistakes. They know you are learning. But when you are advanced, if you use the wrong register, people don't think you're learning. They just think you're weird.
Or cold. Or arrogant.
Or arrogant, yes. They misinterpret your linguistic choice as a personality trait.
So the strategy is observe, be a spy. Listen to how the locals speak to their boss versus how they speak to their friends. Listen to the language on a serious news program versus a comedy panel show.
The vocabulary is the keyboard. The register is the sheet music. You have to know which song you are playing. You don't play a funeral march at a wedding. You don't use fatigued at the pub.
And you definitely don't tell the CEO you're knackered.
Unless you want to be fired. No, probably best to avoid that.
Okay, we've covered the words, the stress, and the social context. Now I want to get physical. I want to talk about the physical sensation of speaking British English. The source introduces a training technique called shadowing.
This is a staple for actors and spies, honestly. It's one of the most effective ways to change your accent and your rhythm.
So what is it exactly? How does it work?
Shadowing isn't just listening and repeating. It involves playing a recording of a native speaker and repeating it simultaneously, or just a split second behind. You act as their shadow. You're trying to sync up with them in real time.
So you aren't waiting for them to finish the sentence.
No. You are overlapping. You aren't just copying the words, you are copying the breath, the pause, the pitch, the intonation, and most importantly, the rhythm. You are trying to become them. You're trying to feel the music in your body as they feel it.
The source gave us a boss-level challenge sentence.
Oh yeah, this one's a good one.
It's designed to break your brain a little bit because it is packed with tricky stress patterns. I want to read it out, and then I want us to dissect it like a frog in biology class.
Let's do it.
Here's the sentence. I was wary of the racket in the alley, but it was just the neighbors haggling over a mural.
Okay. That is dense.
Right.
There's a lot of texture in there. It's a workout.
It is. Before we do the rhythm, let's just clear up the definitions because the source was careful to define these tricky words for our ESL listeners. They're not exactly beginner vocabulary.
Right. Let's do a quick glossary.
Wary. W-A-R-Y.
That means cautious, suspicious, on guard. Be wary of strangers.
Racket.
A loud, unpleasant noise. A clamor. Not the thing you play tennis with.
Alley.
A narrow street behind buildings. A back alley.
Haggling.
Bargaining. Arguing over a price. Trying to get a discount at a market.
And finally, a mural.
A large painting done directly on a wall.
Okay, so the scene is, I was scared of the loud noise in the back street, but it turned out to be just the people next door arguing about a painting.
That's the movie playing in your head. Now let's look at the soundtrack. The source uses this sentence to illustrate the British obsession with initial stress.
Dramatic roots showing through again. We talked about this with G.A. Rich.
Absolutely. English is a stress-timed language. We don't give every syllable equal time. We punch the important ones and swallow the rest. In this sentence, the punches, the beats, are all at the front of the key content words.
Let's walk through it word by word.
Okay, first one. W-A-R-E. The energy is on the W-A. The Troy falls away. It's barely there. D-dot.
W-A-R-E. Got it. Next.
R-racket. Hard hit on the R-A. The picket is just a little afterthought. D-R.
R-racket. Okay.
A-L-E. Same pattern. D-dot.
An A-H bores.
D-R.
H-agling.
D-R.
And M-U-ral.
D-da. It's a parade of trochees, a falling rhythm over and over again.
Almost percussive, isn't it?
Oh,
W-A-R-E.
Oh, I racket, I
Yeah.
say. It has a real beat.
It does. And if you are coming from a syllable-timed language like Spanish or French or Japanese, your instinct is to make everything even. You might say, I was worried at the racket.
It sounds robotic. It sounds flat, like a computer reading text. It loses the meaning because English speakers listen for the stress to identify the word. The stress is part of the word's identity. If you say warai with the stress at the end, a native speaker might genuinely not understand you for a second. Their brain is searching for the shape W-A-rai.
It's like a heartbeat. Da-da-da, da-da, H-A eggling, M-U-raw. The whole sentence has this underlying pulse.
Precisely. It's trochaic. It's a falling rhythm. And mastering that feeling is what makes you sound natural.
I want to encourage our listener right now, wherever you are, unless you're in a library or a quiet zone, try to physically do this. Tap your finger or nod your head on the bold syllables.
I was W-wary of the R-ake in the alley, but it was just the NHA Boers H-A gliggling over a M-U-raw.
It helps to connect the physical action to the speech. It gets it out of your brain and into your body. It builds muscle memory.
And that's the goal of shadowing, isn't it? You bypass the intellectual translation part of your brain and train the muscle memory directly. You want your mouth to know the shape of the phrase before your brain even selects it. That is when you stop translating and start speaking. That is real fluency, when the music is second nature.
We have one final trap to disarm. And honestly, this one is just mean. It feels personal.
It feels like a prank.
The source calls it a false friend. But usually false friends are between two languages, like French and English. This is English being a false friend to itself.
The homograph, a word with the same spelling but a different sound and a different meaning.
And the word is R-O-W.
This word causes so much pain for learners. It really captures the chaotic, illogical nature of English spelling. It's exhibit A for why English is so hard.
So first we have the pronunciation that rhymes with go.
Row.
Right.
Row, row, row your boat. Or a row of seats in a cinema. It implies a line or the smooth action of oars in water. It's a soft, round sound. Row. It feels calm.
Okay. Row,
Yeah.
go, safe, common. We like row, but then the evil twin appears.
The pronunciation that rhymes with cow.
Row. It sounds sharper. It sounds like a bark. It's more aggressive. And what does it mean?
An argument. A noisy disturbance. A fight. A commotion.
The source references the phrase kicking up a row.
Yes, which is similar to kicking up a fuss. If you say, my neighbors are having a row, cow, you mean they're screaming at each other. They are disturbing the peace.
But if I say, my neighbors are in the front row, go, it means they have excellent tickets to the show, and I'm jealous.
Exactly. The entire meaning flips based on one vowel sound with no clue from the spelling.
And the source gives us the ultimate tongue twister to combine them. This is the final exam for today. This is the sentence that ties it all together.
Hit me with it. I'm ready.
They had a row about which row to sit in.
That is diabolical. Just plain cruel.
Think about what your brain has to do there as you're reading it aloud. You see the word R-O-W. You have to look at the context. They had a, okay, that implies an event, an argument. So it's row, cow.
Right. You can't have a line of seats.
Then you keep reading about which. Okay, that implies a location, a choice, row, go to sit in. You have to switch vowels mid-sentence based on context clues that are still coming.
It requires prediction. This is why reading aloud is the hardest skill to master in any language. You have to be reading 3 words ahead of your mouth. You have to comprehend the sentence before you can pronounce it correctly.
The source calls this the cruelty of English. It feels like a trap set by the language gods just for fun. But interestingly, John, the expert in the source text, counters that. He says he loves it.
And I tend to agree with him. I know it's frustrating for learners, but it provides depth. Think about the sound symbolism.
What do you mean?
The word for a line row sounds like flow. It's smooth, row. The word for a fight row sounds like ow. It sounds like pow. The sound mirrors the meaning in a really satisfying way.
That's a beautiful way to reframe it. It's not a trap, it's a feature, it's texturing, it adds another layer of meaning.
It makes the language 3D, it gives it character. If everything was perfectly phonetic and logical, English would be a code, not a culture.
I love that. English would be a code, not a culture. We have covered a massive amount of ground today. I feel like my brain has been rewired. We've gone from the bakery to the parking lot, to the vegetable aisle, to the boardroom, and finally to the theater rows.
It's been a journey, a linguistic safari.
Let's recap the key takeaways for anyone whose brain is currently melting. The absolute essentials.
First, the scone. The great divider. Decide who you are. Are you north or south? Are you gone or bone? Pick one, stick to it, and for the love of all that is holy, never ever say scoon.
Second, the garage. Don't paint it canary yellow, and definitely don't call it a Gateway HGE. Clip it, GA Ridge. Match it to carriage. Feel the rhythm.
Third, the courgette. Respect the French origin. Pout your lips, courgette. And remember, the stress is at the end, courgette. Don't bark at it, it's a delicate vegetable.
Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, register. Don't be a robot. If you're in the pub with your mates, you aren't fatigued. You are not carroted. Be human. Connect. Read the room.
And finally, watch out for the rose. Look ahead. Is it a fight? Rhymes with cow. Or a line? Rhymes with go. Let the context guide the vowel.
The overarching theme here, the thing that Source keeps coming back to, is that language is musical. It's not just a collection of words.
It is! It's the music of English.
Yeah.
We get so hung up on the lyrics, the definitions, the grammar rules, that we forget to hum the tune. But the tune is what makes you part of the group. The rhythm, the stress, the intonation. That's what makes you sound like a local.
So here is our challenge to you, the listener. A final thought to take away. For the next week, don't just listen to what people say. Listen to how they say it.
Become an anthropologist of sound.
Exactly. Listen to the beat. Listen to the register shifts when a person talks to their child versus when they answer a business call.
Ask yourself, why did they use that word in this room? Where was the stress in that sentence? Did that sound formal or informal?
Be a pronunciation detective. It makes the world a much more interesting place. And hey, go treat yourself to a scone.
Just make sure you order it with conviction, wherever side you choose.
With absolute conviction. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.